This is the Fantasy Springs Resort Casino. Fantasy Springs is located in Indio, California. It is 25 miles from Palm Springs, about 130 miles from Los Angeles, and 140 miles from San Diego. It is owned and operated by the Cabazon band of Cahuilla Indians. I visited during the month of December because, to state the obvious, the holiday decorations just make the casino atmosphere even better. Before I went to Fantasy Springs, I went to the Agua Caliente Fuel Center for some gas and a drink. The Agua Caliente Casino Resort was featured in one of my previous videos, and it was a really cool place. The first thing I saw when I arrived was the Special Event Center. I was able to get a glimpse into the space, and it struck me as being pretty spacious, especially for a casino I had never heard of. The Special Events Center hosts concerts, theater productions, conventions, and even powwows. It is 100,000 square feet, and it has 3,700 arena-style seats. Then I got a glimpse at the hotel tower and the pool. I passed through fantasy lanes on my way into the casino. You know, bowling was one of my favorite activities when I was a kid. My parents were in a league, and I was in a league, and it was sad to see my childhood bowling alley turn into a lot for the car dealership across the street. So I love that the Indians are helping to keep bowling and arcades alive. But more on this later. Honestly, I was in a hurry to get to the buffet. But I still had to appreciate the razzle-dazzle. The dinner buffet was pretty cheap, and there was no line, so it was either going to be a bargain or a regret. At first, the food did not look appetizing, and the sauce on the salmon was a bit icky to my taste. I was actually starting to feel some regret for coming here. But all was not lost, for there was a station of chilled shrimp and smoked salmon, with capers and other fine garnishes. All-you-can-eat salmon and shrimp, aka all-you-can-eat protein? Well, that alone makes it a good experience. There was also some good cake and decent vegetables. The taquitos were disappointing though, being too dry. But I would do it again, just for the seafood. Then I made my first pass of their food court. I am sad to report that I did not get a Frappuccino this time, one of my usual things to do at Indian casinos. The hotel hallway and lobby definitely had a posh feeling. And I would discover some of my favorite Christmas decorations. one restaurant really caught my eye. Palm. Gotta be the stairs and tall windows. According to the website, Palm fuses traditional California cuisine with tastes from Latin America and Italy. And then there is Bistro, which is officially their only fine dining option at the casino resort. But I think Palm looks pretty elegant as well. Well, there's the Starbucks that I did not get anything from. Fantasy Springs exceeded my expectations. For a random Indian casino in the desert, the vibes are worthy of Vegas and beyond. I love all their sights and sounds. I want to make it clear that I don't make these videos to promote or glorify gambling. I make these videos to celebrate Indian resilience and accomplishments, and to appreciate the history. And once again, I just love all the colors, the lights, and of course the buffets, and the bowling alleys, and whatever else, just all the entertainment and everything. Fantasy Lanes, the only place that I managed to fly the drone outside Fantasy Springs during my first visit. From the casino, I returned to the bowling alley hoping to bowl. I had plans to bowl, but I forgot my bowling shoes, and the bowling alley was very busy and it had a wait time, and it was getting late, and I really wanted to get home sooner than later at that point. Nonetheless, I enjoyed taking it all in. Fantasy Lanes has 24 lanes, and they have a lounge and snack bar. And they have a pro shop. And they have a couple arcade sections. One more for little kids and, well, one for bigger kids or even adults. And all these things really remind me of my favorite childhood bowling alley, Regal Lanes. The retro nostalgic vibes are strong in this place. And well, that was it for my first visit to Fantasy Springs. Months later, I returned to Fantasy Springs for some unfinished business. My first stop was the Cabazon Museum. I read a review on the internet that this place was closed when it should have been open. And sure enough, it was closed for me as well when it was supposedly open. I guess it wasn't popular enough, so they just gave up on it. At least they had a historical map and a basic information display outside. But all was not lost, for I found another museum in the area that featured exhibits on the local natives. So I was off to the La Quinta Museum in La Quinta, California. The current La Quinta Museum opened in 2008. The city of La Quinta is right next door to Indio, where Fantasy Springs is located. But before we dive into the museum, this is what we know specifically about the Cabazon. The Cabazon Band of Cahuilla Indians, also known as the Cabazon Band of Mission Indians, are descendants of Chief Cabazon, leader of the Desert Cahuilla from the 1830s to the 1870s. The Cabazon Indian Reservation was founded in 1876. The tribe brought high-stakes bingo to California with the California v. Cabazon Band court case, and ultimately paved the way for Indian casinos as a whole. Cahuilla territory goes back 3,000 years. The land ranges from 273 feet below sea level at the Salton Sink all the way to 11,000 feet above sea level in the mountains. The desert could reach 125 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer, and some areas averaged only about 3 inches of rain each year. Despite the heat and lack of rain, the desert contained many plants that provided food, such as cacti, screwbean mesquite, agave, yucca, and wild fruits. There were over 200 wild fruits. And there were over 100 animals, such as antelope, chipmunks, rabbits, mice, rats, deer, insects, doves, quail, ducks, the roadrunner, and migratory geese, among others. And let's not forget the reptiles, such as the desert iguana, and the diamondback and sidewinder rattlesnakes. And then 2 animals are in a league of their own, the pronghorn and the bighorn sheep. In fact, the California desert region consists of 3 main deserts: the Great Basin Desert, the Colorado Desert, and the Mojave Desert. Cabazon territory lies in the Colorado Desert. This is a diorama of a Cahuilla village. The mountains were the center of all Cahuilla life. Each village had a net, who was the head man. The net settled major disputes, chose hunting-gathering areas, and represented the group at meetings. The position was passed down from father to son. And then there were shamans, who acted as intermediaries between the natural and the spiritual worlds. There were many other positions in Cahuilla life, but those are the positions that I personally find to be the most interesting. Ceremonies were held at the beginning of the season for most major foods, such as agave, mesquite, acorns, and pine nuts. It was important not to overuse plants, so that they would survive to be used again. So they usually left parts of plants behind, rarely stripping them bare. Mesquite beans could be stored for a year in granaries, large baskets, as seen here. The mesquite bean was very important to the desert Cahuilla, providing a nutritious food, but also construction material and a habitat that attracted game animals such as rabbits. Plants were the majority of the Cahuilla diet. From plants came food, shelter, clothing, and tools. Women were the gatherers, Each village had its own gathering areas divided by a system of boundaries. Once again, they were careful not to kill the plants. Digging sticks were used for the harvesting of roots and bulbs. This is a seed beater used for knocking seeds off plants and into baskets. Hunting. The Cahuilla people ate the meat of many animals, birds, and insects. Deer, mountain sheep, and antelope were considered the most valuable game because they provided the most meat and skin. Animal skins were used for clothing, bags, and blankets. Men were trained in hunting skills from an early age and were taught how to make the weapons as well. This is an arrow shaft made from sharpened arrowweed stems, and these are arrowheads made from local rock like obsidian. Arrowheads were sometimes dipped in black widow venom, rattlesnake venom, or rancid meat. This is a quiver made from an agave stalk. Before a hunt, men would spend time in a sweat house for purification. Special herbs were used to remove their human scent. Spears, nets, and even baskets were used to trap fish. Desert tortoises would be roasted or boiled in stews. Tortoise shells were used as tools, and the eggs were considered a special treat. Small game animals provided the bulk of the meat protein in their diet. Rabbits were especially bountiful and were prized not only for their meat, but also for their fur that was used to make soft, warm clothing. Rabbits were hunted with nets, by bow and arrow, and with rabbit sticks. Rabbits would be roasted in a clay vessel or boiled. The desert Cahuilla would make seasonal trips to the Santa Rosa Mountains to visit the mountain Cahuilla. It was a Cahuilla custom never to visit someone empty-handed. They would bring mesquite meal, powder, and cakes, as the mountain Cahuilla did not have mesquite trees. In turn, mountain Cahuilla, when visiting the desert Cahuilla, would bring roasted agave and pine nuts. The desert Cahuilla trips would last up to 2 weeks. Men hunted while women gathered. When it was time to return home, both the dried meat and the plant food would be carried down the mountain in large burden baskets. Coming of age. By the time Cahuilla children reached adulthood, they already knew how to do most of the tasks required of them. Games developed the skills necessary for adult life. Boys had tug-of-war contests, practical shooting and throwing, and ran races. Girls juggled, spun tops, and made string figures. The Cahuilla designed a sustainable lifestyle, despite harsh weather conditions. Palm oases, canyons, and nearby mountains allowed them to escape the extremely hot summers. The natural world was celebrated, protected, and respected to ensure a peaceful coexistence between human, plant, and animal spirits. Villages and trade. The Cahuilla were one of the few Native American tribes that dug actual wells of water, going 15 feet deep or more. Their villages consisted of family dwellings and ceremonial houses. They used materials like arrowweed branches and palm tree fronds to create their traditional home called a quiche. These elements represented the tribe's practical and spiritual ties to the land. The Cahuilla often traded with neighboring tribes such as the Mojave, Capeño, and Gabrielino tribes. They also intermarried. They traded baskets, beaded jewelry, and pottery for the most part. Granaries would be placed on platforms to protect their contents from rodents and other animals. After a big harvest, each granary would be full, containing several bushels of acorns and mesquite beans. The Cahuilla believed the art of basketry was a gift from the Moon Maiden. Men made open-work baskets and larger baskets, while women made fine coiled baskets that are considered world-class. The ability to make fine baskets earned them wealth and prestige. Designs were inspired by nature, such as birds, rattlesnakes, lightning, and wind. Cahuilla baskets came in many shapes. Pottery. The Cahuilla adopted the art and craft of pottery long after they perfected their skill of basket making. It is thought that only about 500 years ago, the Cahuilla learned pottery from neighboring eastern tribes to supplement baskets for the use of storage and cooking. Here are some additional artifacts that provide a glimpse into the Cahuilla life of the past. Yucca fiber sandals used to protect the feet from the hot ground and thorns. A Cahuilla basket hat, the start of a basket, and grinding stones. This was such a great little museum. It truly made up for the closure of the Cabazon Museum. It was a lifesaver. This museum actually had the same map and information that the Cabazon Museum had outside, which means I was definitely in the right place. And then I drove back to the casino and took in the town. And hey, look, a fruit stand. Eagle Falls Golf Course. I actually came here twice. Earlier in the day, I came to check out the pro shop, which was of no interest to me. Then I went to the snack shop, which had friendly young women at the counter, and the man at the pro shop made a point of telling me about them. I got a coffee hot chocolate. The golf course was reasonably busy, and there was no wind at that time of the day. Then I came back later to fly the drone after everything was closed, and the wind had really picked up. So much so that I was a little worried to fly the drone. But I enjoyed having the place to myself with all that wind. This golf course opened in 2007. This golf course was designed by the much sought after world-class designer Clive Clark. It is an 18-hole golf course. I am no golfer, but this is a beautiful addition to the Fantasy Springs property. Remember those Where's Waldo books? How about Where's Scott? After my golden hour flight at the golf course, it was time to head over to another spot for my sunset flight. But first I had to walk to my car. Why just look at a place when you can learn some history? First, the Indio Bingo Palace opened in 1991. In 1995, the Indio Bingo Palace was replaced by the Fantasy Springs Casino. The casino expanded in 2000. In 2003, the casino broke ground on the Resort and Conference Center. The current Fantasy Springs Hotel and Casino opened in December of 2004, with 250 rooms and 12 floors. And finally, near the end of my trip, I checked out the main entrance. That is a pretty cool fountain. During my first visit, I completely missed the main entrance until I was leaving. For a casino I had never heard of, this place left a lasting impression. After leaving the casino, I had to go to the nearby Love's truck stop for a drink and a little gas. And with that, blessings, and subscribe in the spirit of self-reliance, and hit the thumbs up with the power of Mother Earth.